Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
Man, what a show we have today. And you know what? That's me bouncing off the walls. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right up front, we have Mr. Nick Unsworth here today. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with Nick. If you're not familiar, you need to get familiar. Nick, for one, well, let's just talk about he's a Facebook genius when it comes to helping businesses take advantage of it, of the opportunities on Facebook, online businesses. I'm talking about speakers, coaches, authors. I've seen him work with restaurants, tons of all different types of businesses. So, that's what he does. He does very well. But over the last year, I've watched him evolve from, helping business with Facebook to inspiring and becoming, an influencer, to just an incredible magnitude. Now, I've had the opportunity and I guess the good luck to have run into Nick several times over the last few years at conferences and different masterminds. And we've actually taken some training together from, some really, really smart folks like, Michael Burnoff. I never get tired of hearing a Nick Unsworth story, and it seems like there's always one that I haven't heard. And when I say this, I'm talking about a guy that when you look at him, when you talk to him, when you meet him, you think, here's a guy, he's got it together, good-looking guy, really smart. However, you want to talk about the school of hard knocks. You want to talk about, what is it? Learn from your mistakes. Well, he's got to have a PhD. Every cliche in the book, if it wasn't for bad luck, he would have no luck at all. This guy just seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time so many times, throughout his life, yet endured. And it always, brings to mind the, when I think about that saying, when I think about that, every millionaire marketer, every millionaire entrepreneur, I've ever met is nothing more than a newbie that did not quit. And this is a guy that does not quit. And not only has he persevered, not has he only come, but now he's taken it, a complete inverse to where he is influencing so many people, and he is going out and doing some remarkable and just incredible things, not just in business and life. I'm talking about just incredible, human interaction. And so, I really want to encourage you to listen through this whole thing. One of the longer interviews that I've done, just because it is just so interesting and so captivating to hear these different steps and hear his progress. Even though it's little chunks, he has so much more, that he could tell you, but to just watch this evolve from someone that just could not catch a break to someone that is really making some magical things happen. So we'll be right back with Nick Unsworth.
Don't miss a thing. Listen to and download past episodes, get show notes, resource lists, and leave feedback at influencersradio.com.
And we are back on Influencers Radio. And today is great because I get to not only dig into this next guest, but also get to catch up. It's been a few months since I've talked to him, so I'm eager to catch up and to see what he's doing, and also, man, the meteoric movement that he's creating for both himself and the folks that he works with. And today, our guest is none other than host of Life on Fire TV, Pay It Forward Friday TV. This guy, you're going to hear a dramatic contrast, but what he touches turns into gold. Number one on iTunes for the business category for video podcast within a week of launching. Number one in the Entrepreneur Inspiration Show on iTunes. This guy, from listening and you see what he's doing now, you're going to think, man, it just comes easy. But I can tell you nothing is further from the truth. Welcome, Nick Unsworth. How you doing, Nick?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm fired up, man.
Well, be fired up because, people I see that people, when your name comes up, oh man, Nick, he's on fire. No pun intended. Man, Nick, he's doing some great stuff. I'm following Nick Unsworth. Man, I'm working with Nick Unsworth and we've got this, and this happening. And it's like the dude's got the Midas touch. But all I can think about is, I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 years ago, I'm sitting in a Japanese restaurant in San Diego, California. And sitting right next to me is Nick. And my first thought is, oh, great. Whose teenager did I get stuck sitting next to? Right. And we started talking and he proceeded to tell me you want to talk about someone that can just find the right or wrong thing to do at the wrong time. And he proceeded to lay out failure after failure after failure, enough failures to fill up the story of a 60-plus-year-old man. And I'm looking at Nick, who, to me looked like a teenager. And I know you were a few months older than that, but and I think, how has this guy gone through this? And he has a smile on his face. This is a guy that has, if anything, if you believe in bad luck, he's a guy that had to stare at him in the face and he just would not acknowledge it. And I really want to dig into that transformation because I've always, believed and I've seen that every successful millionaire, entrepreneur, marketer, business owner is just simply a newbie that didn't quit. And I think the quit wasn't in your vocabulary through this. So let's dig right into that, Nick, and there's no way that we could dig into everything that you've done, but I want to start with, what is it that kept you going? You can give us a couple examples of what is it that kept you going into to make that turnaround?
It's crazy. I can't even describe the level of goosebumps and hair raising as you're just going through and talking about it. Cause I share my stories, I pick and choose, and share certain stories when I, to build some connection. But what's crazy is I very rarely go all the way back, so when I first became an entrepreneur and really relive some of the most insane moments. And I think a big part of it is, ever since I was a little kid, I always knew what I wanted. I mean, I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to love what I did for work. And that was because of, how I was raised. It was my mom saying things like, you can do anything you put your mind to. And I just believed that I could eventually figure it out. And that's something that not everyone is born with. And that's something that, having the belief in yourself and knowing that, even though I failed so miserably so many different times, I always knew in the back of my head that that was just getting me one step closer to when I was going to make it. And now, I didn't think it was going to take me 10 years, I thought it was going to happen, after a couple of years. I look at my peers and there's guys, John Lee Dumas, the guy in 18 months, he's making over $100,000 a month. And, it makes it look easy. And that's the difference between Michael Jordan and a guy like me, that I'm the first one in the gym and I'm the last to leave because I don't have the raw skills, the runs of the litter, if you will. And so, that was one hand. On my dad, on the other side was my father, really inspired me because this guy is literally the hardest working man I've ever met in my entire life. And, his mission was to provide. And so for me as a kid, though, that left me seeing my dad always be working and always being gone and being very stressed out and working in a very tough industry. And I always wanted to love what I do. And that's always been my pursuit and my mission. So I turned through opportunities and businesses, and I kept trying. I kept failing forwards fast. And I figured eventually I'm going to find what the heck I love to do. And that was always in the back of my mind. And it was just this, the faith that I will eventually get there, and reading the books and knowing that, every entrepreneur has a number. Every entrepreneur, you might have to fail at 3 businesses. If we all were guaranteed to have not just $1 million, right? But let's just say we're guaranteed to have this amazing financial freedom, this perfect life with time freedom, where you're still living with purpose and you have a business that's helping people and giving back and you're fulfilled and you're happy, because money will never give that stuff to you. but you're doing something meaningful with your work. And all that is at the end that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? And to get it, if you knew that there was a certain number of businesses you had to fail at to get that perfect, serene, blissful life that everyone dreams about when you're little kids, how many business failures would you go through? Now, the thing that's really messed up is no one knows. You don't know what your number is. So for some guys, like John Lee Dumas, the guy, hopped into corporate career, he didn't like it, and then he built his podcast, and so he didn't even have a failure per se, but he turned from one business to the next, and boom, so maybe his number is 2. In my case, my number is like literally it's probably 19 or 21. I mean, it's up there. So how many failures do you need? How many businesses do you need to go through before you find that sweet spot? Once you're in alignment where you're doing what you love every single day, where it doesn't feel like work. I know for you, Jack, I mean, us hanging on a line like this and sharing stories back and forth, this isn't work. And if this inspires one person to have the courage to go towards their dreams and say, screw it, I'm going to fail forward fast, and I'm going to, if it takes me 3 failures and it takes me 5 years, who cares? Because the light at the end of the tunnel is so freaking bright and warm and amazing and worth it, then I'll do it. And so I knew that I had that belief that I would eventually get it. And thank God that I did.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, one of the things that definitely makes you an influencer is that you can sit and talk about your stories because, you've been in the real estate business. You've gone through, some network marketing stuff. Every story you have, there's not a room that doesn't have at least 1 or 2 people in there that will instantly jump up and said, me too, right? Me too. And you're the guy that not just has that story that 1 or 2 people resonate. You're the guy that has stories that a whole room full of people that can resonate because you've done so many things. And not to sound derogatory, but you've failed at so many things. Even things that normal people would be successful, consider a success. It seemed to turn around and whip you, because of the timing that you would get into it. And the thing is, the time that, I've spent with you in person and we've been in person around people, lots of different types of people that need inspiration, other people that are successful and just need a little mindset shift. And, your passion around what you do, which we'll talk about, I'm sure we'll get to your Facebook stuff, but it's infectious. Just your smile and your laughter and your passion for what you do is infectious, even though the beat down that you've taken on some of the things that you tried, even when the stuff that I really want to hear the story about when you you put together something that everything on the surface looked like you had something that was just ready to rock it. And not only was it good for you, but it was good for the community. It was charity. It was everything. Man, it looked like it was gold, and it still found a way to pull the rug out from under you. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I do. Yep. Goosebumps are coming right back. Well, it's one of these things where, my mother also always used to say things like, look for the good in any situation, no matter how awful it may be. I mean, it could even be things like, critical illnesses or, something like my random knee surgery before a charity event that, 32-year-old guy with a knee that blows out, just random weird stuff. But at the end of the day, it's always, looking at the positives and keeping your chin up because there's literally no point in being a victim and being sad about things. I mean, if you think about it, it's all about how quickly you get up. That's the relentlessness and the relentless pursuit of your dreams, and how quickly you get back up is what everything's about. I mean, that's what makes for an entrepreneur that can never be stopped. And once you learn how to make money and you find that niche and you're in alignment, you're totally good to go. So in that situation, finding the positive, that's what I had to do in this particular part of the journey where I set up this thing. I was a realtor. Being a realtor at the time, that is just, I literally, to put it in perspective, I moved across the country to work on a lending project, moved my girlfriend at the time out there with me, and everything was supposed to be good. A huge opportunity. He's going to partner with this guy, one of my best buds in the business, get to San Diego, I was going to become a partner in the business and own this thing with him. And literally 2 weeks after I get there, the freaking meltdown happens in the economy and everything tanks. It's just the rug got pulled out from under us, and it turned into a disaster. I licked my wounds. I came back to Connecticut, and I said, wow, I can't do mortgage. The mortgage business just makes me sick to my stomach. I'm going to be a realtor. How am I going to build my brand? And I said, well, real estate really doesn't, fire me up all that much. I want to build a business that gives back. I've always, I think every one of us, we all have something inside of us. We all have a gift. We all have a message. And even no matter what you have to do, but if we all just literally just have a belief, whether it's your God-given talent or a message, or even if you don't believe in a God, it's like you have a belief or start having a belief that there's some real significant purpose why you're here. You know what I mean? And what's that meaning behind it? And, I didn't know what the heck that was, but I was like, you know what? Real estate doesn't seem like that's it for me. So I want to build up a brand. I want to give back along the way. I want to help charities, and I want to have a meaningful life. So I decided to create what I called the New Perks Card. And this was to build up my brand for my real estate little practice. This was to, do some good. And so what it was the shape of a business card. It could fit in your wallet or purse. And it had discounts to about 45 businesses in West Hartford, Connecticut. So you could flash the New Perks Card when you walk into a restaurant. You see the little decal on the window that says, "We proudly support the New Perks Card of West Hartford." You waltz in there, flash your card, you get 50% off a bottle of wine every time you go in there. This thing was good for a year. So it was so good for consumers. It was great for the business owners because they got new foot traffic to try their restaurants. And then what I did was I tied it to charity. I went out, pounded the pavement. I got, Make-A-Wish. I got Heart Association, Alzheimer's Association, some of the biggest nonprofits in the world. And I got them on board. They didn't let me use their logos. They didn't hardly even let me use their names.
But they let you give them the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were actually the most. It was disgusting. They were so awful to work with, to be honest with you. Probably shouldn't have mentioned their names. But anyway, it was very tough to work with them because they're so big, and I was such a small, company. But anyway, I wanted to give back, and so what happened is that when the consumer bought the card for $20, $10 went to advertising, and then $10 went to charity. And so that was my way. Nothing went to me, which probably wasn't the smartest business idea. But I figured I wanted people to know that there was nothing financially in that for me. I was going to use my time to build it. And my benefit was that I was going to get a lot of the brand benefit. I was going to, everyone would kind of know I'm the guy behind it. And that would be good for my real estate business. And my goal was if I had 5,000 people that I had their addresses in my town, I knew that was going to result in a very big real estate business. I knew the direct mail numbers, if you will, right? That was my end goal. So here I go marching in, got the whole thing set up. I, started hearing things from my parents, like, wow, we're really proud of you. This is amazing. People around me start to see, wow, I think Unsworth actually has one. This guy's going to do it. This is his breakthrough. He just, we watched him fail again in real estate. And this is his big, moment. This guy's, this thing's cool. It's working. I'm on the statewide morning show and all the papers, and I did a ribbon cutting party. I had the mayor of West Hartford cutting the ribbons, and 200 people came to the event. We, threw some other fundraising stuff. We raised $5,000 right there, and so things were good. I was getting the signs of success, and I was riding high.
You clearly had a winner. What you just described, you had a winner. You think, okay, man, yeah. this is it. The wave is building, and he's about to ride it home. Now, how did you manage to screw it up?
Yeah, so I had a winner. I'm thinking I'll franchise this thing, and so anyways, I have the winner, and then so I start talking with the other business owners. I'm like, wow, looks like this thing's really picking up. We get a lot of foot traffic and things are happening. And then they said, man, you got to take this thing to the next level. You got to go out and get, you got to bring on an advertising company. You got to market this thing, and I was like, yeah, it's starting to work, and so I'm totally down. And I talked to a handful of business owners. I got highly, highly recommended to this one advertising firm that was in this area. 4 guys. They each had 25 years of experience. These guys, touted that they knew how to drive and build business. You know what I mean? And they literally said, quote, "We have your best interest in mind." And let me tell you, when you hear that, buckle your seatbelt because you might be along for a ride, and so these guys, what they did was I walked in there with a 10-page grassroots marketing plan, and about being grassroots, about, doing some online marketing. This was back, you're talking 2008. You're talking when, Facebook, it just went from college campuses to becoming public, for, consumer use. Things were opening up and marketing on Google and it was super hot. And so I'm like, guys, what if we did some innovative stuff? And they said, no, Nick, we've been doing this for 25 years, 100 years combined. You need to do TV commercials. And I'm like, what? Commercials? And they took my marketing plan. I literally watched them throw it in the trash. Imagine. And they were so cocky and arrogant. And I looked at it and I said, well, I've been recommended to them by some very significant, business owners in town. And I pushed back and I pushed back and pushed back and said, I just don't understand. At that amount of money, I'm going to blow everything. I'm not only going to blow everything I have, but I'm going to be investing money into this that I didn't even get yet from the sales of cards. Even though I was doing well, a few hundred cards in circulations was a good sign of hope, but that wasn't like, huge numbers. It wasn't monstrous. So I'm, about to put everything I have into this thing. And I, of course, don't have any savings because I failed at plenty of other things leading up to that. So I was about to, credit card and invest everything I, have into it. And, so I ended up looking at it at one point and saying, you know what, maybe I need to get out of my own way. Maybe at the time, I think I was about 26, and maybe I need to just trust these professionals and just go with it because maybe I've been failing at everything else. Maybe I should know better, right? Or they should know better. So I take it on. We film an animated commercial, super expensive. And when it came time for the airtime for the commercial, there was two choices. There was a statewide, get on the 6 o'clock news, right, the commercial spot, or you could go cable and I could drill down into just West Hartford, Connecticut. I said, guys, why on earth are we marketing the entire state of Connecticut? My card is only good in West Hartford. And they convinced me that that there were better viewers or better eyeballs at 6 o'clock for the news than if we focused that budget to just West Hartford, Connecticut. It defied all logic, and they sweared by it. And I said, "Oh my God, this just seems crazy." But I what else? I trust them. They really think that this is going to work. And we went into it, and I blew and hemorrhaged money faster than you can even believe. If I had a bonfire, I could not have burned it faster than these guys were burning it through these commercials. It was absolutely unbelievable. It was devastating. And, I pulled the plug. I was under contract as fast as I could, burn through, collectively all said and done, about 50 grand. Then all kinds of other expenses. I ended up about $50,000 in the hole. And what was crazy about the whole situation was from all that traffic, I moved less than 100 cards on all that money. And, and a couple were, handwritten checks. Just nuts. So it didn't work at all. It was awful. It was untargeted. So my takeaways when I look at this and I say, wow, this is devastating. This could destroy everything. And I looked at it and said, you know what? My outlook is, that at least I learned that traditional marketing doesn't work. My next aha is maybe I should pursue something that, will work and find that out. And so I'm like, all right, I'll find a way. I'll be resilient. I
want to foreshadow this just a little bit in that you spent $50,000 on statewide throwing out a wide net to people that the majority of them clearly had absolutely no reasonable expectation of buying or using your card. You did a statewide television campaign for essentially a coupon that was only good in a what geographic area?
In one town. One town alone. In
one town. So you learned about the importance of targeting, even though it's a very expensive lesson in targeting, and it was more on the brick and mortar, but you definitely learned a very, very strong lesson in targeting there, I guess, which has benefited you, right?
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of online marketing and how you can drill down and zoom in so closely now. And so from that situation, here I am, getting out from under that contract and getting these things turned off as fast as possible, as soon as I was allowed to. And so as soon as that happened, I remember looking at it wasn't even Google Analytics, it was a very, very basic, funky online, statistics. That was the first time I built a website, and actually when I look back, I was looking at screenshots the other day. I mean, or actually printouts of it. It is actually a heck of a site. I did a pretty good job, putting it together. And what was crazy is that after that, the TV campaigns were done, I noticed that my traffic was still rising. And what was crazy is that it drove so much action. I was getting thousands of visitors to the site a day, thousands. But none of it was targeted, as we said, right? So no one was buying because they don't live in the town. But so what ended up happening is that after we pulled the plug in ads, I looked back at the stats, and my traffic is increasing. Now, imagine that. I pull the plug, stats are going up, I'm freaking out. I'm thinking I'm spending more money on ads, right? I call these guys back, like, dude, what's going on? Like, it looks like you're spending more money. Like, I have nothing else you can take. Like I don't even know how you're even doing it. They're like, Nick, we haven't run any ads. This has been done for over a week. I'm like, well, how is it still going up? And we actually didn't know. It sounds kind of funny, but we didn't know because the analytics didn't tell us where it was coming from. It was, again, very basic. And so I called a web guy, and I'm like, hey, man, I just don't understand why the numbers are going up. Is it something broken? And he goes, oh, no, looks like you're on Google. And your ranked on Google, right? And as that's happening, right, I go into work, and I get a package in the mail. I open her up, and I'm like, all right, I get a little glimmer of hope. I'm thinking, like, I can turn this thing around. None of that traffic's converting, but, like, I'll figure something out. I'm about to get interviewed by West Hartford News, which is kind of big in West Hartford. I'm super excited. So I'm still keeping my chin up, keeping a smile on my face. And I have the interview coming up, within about an hour when I got to the office. I open up this envelope, big old mean FedEx envelope, open her up, and it's a cease and desist. And it's a cease and desist for trademark infringement. Here I sit at my desk, like, you've got to be kidding me now, trademark infringement? And I'm like, this is insane. And trademark infringement, I actually went online, searched the USPTO.gov. I talked to both the advertising company and my attorney, and I asked both of them. I said, guys, I don't want to take any chances. Should I trademark this? They said no. The attorney said, let me do the name search, make sure you're in the clear. And then once I say, yes, you're good, prove the concept, then trademark. He said, yes, you're in the clear. I never paid the guy because he was a real estate attorney. He did me a favor. Yeah. So I had no recourse on him because we never had a contract. So
this was trademark infringement from what? From somebody that you were ranking for?
Yeah. So my name was NU Perks Card. And so basically there was another company with a very similar name.
Okay.
And it was, after like going through it was infringement. So, I call this company up as soon as I get the package before I have that interview. And I'm like, God, speak to the attorney, like freaking out. And he's like, listen, we need to speak to your legal team. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm 26 years old. I put every little nickel I had into this thing. There's absolutely nothing you can take. I don't have a legal team. I'm doing this to build up like my brand. I'm doing this to give back to charities. I'm like, this is freaking me out. And the guy so I end up doing my own legal work. And next thing you know, they end up getting me into a corner. They, realize how many cars I had in circulation. They threaten a big, huge lawsuit and trying to sue for damages, and all this crazy stuff. We weren't even competitive. It was totally ridiculous. So I ended up having to give them my URL. I have to give them the assets. I was like forbidden to like distribute the cards and all this stuff. And it was just a huge disaster. And when the guy, the attorneys felt so bad for me. And he thought it was crazy. Like they literally felt so bad because there was no reason to squash me like that. Like I was in West Hartford. They didn't do anything that was even relatively, competitive. They did employee benefits. I'm doing like consumer freaking coupons. But they wanted to sue the crap out of me, but there was like nothing I could do. So I ended up having to take the site down, take everything down. And, and if me being optimistic, I print 10,000 cards. So I ended up giving them to churches, and I'm like, screw it, I'll take this risk. I don't care. I gave them to some church. I'm like, I want people to use these things. I said I was going to get foot traffic in these businesses. I'm going to do it. So I ended up giving the cards away. And I asked the business owner, the attorneys, and said, how on earth, and why are you even wasting your time on this? Why are you coming after me? Like, how the heck did you even know who the heck I was? And it was because I ranked number one nationally on the first page of Google for basically their name and their keyword, and I was taking all that traffic. And what was crazy is once I figured that out, I tried to I could have only just gotten off that first page, and I couldn't.
You're the only guy I know that a Google slap is because you can't get your site off the first page of Google.
It was unbelievable. I literally was like, can't I just get off the first page of Google and keep my site? You know what I mean? And they're like, it just didn't work that way. And so Google's algorithm, for whatever reason, this is quite a few years back, wasn't that sophisticated. It saw so many unique IP addresses from all over the place from these commercials. It perceived me to be relevant. It put me number one and bumped them out. They said, who's this competitor? We need to squash them like a cockroach. And here they come after me, and it was nuts. But from that experience, it's one of these things. It was so devastating. Everyone, friends, family, everyone's like, just imagine, my brother's got this amazing corporate job, amazing lifestyle, works from home. His wife doesn't have to work, beautiful kids. He does everything right. And here I am, the black sheep, and it's like your friends and family look at you and just like, well, isn't it time to just get a job? This is one of these situations. Can you just get a job? Just pack it in, And I looked at it and I was like, no, absolutely not. This is the time where I'm going to get up even stronger. And you know what? This is my aha moment from this is not only following my gut and how you should follow your gut too, being very careful whose advice you take. But it's also my aha moment is that I am going to make it my mission to figure out how to market online and how to target in a way and specialize in online marketing that earns a profit, because it is so disgusting to me that people can take someone's money and just grossly lose it, and that's normal. And that's marketing. And that in 2008, that was normal. People just throwing money at stuff and it not working or getting any results. And my mantra became, learning Facebook marketing, becoming a Facebook marketing expert. And when I worked with clients, I would guarantee that I would earn them profits. And if I didn't, they wouldn't pay me for my time. And that right there blew my whole business up, because my story, which everyone has a story, whether yours is like mine or yours is a struggle or whatever, but it's your story, your biggest challenge, whether it's from your childhood or your biggest challenge from the moment in your life, oftentimes can be your biggest blessing. And when you look at it in that frame of mind, nothing can ever stop you. I took my biggest challenge, turned it into my biggest opportunity, became a Facebook marketing expert when nobody knew what the heck they were talking about. Shoot, I wasn't even on Facebook. My girlfriend at the time said, Nick, are you nuts? You don't even have a Facebook personal profile, and you're going to be a Facebook marketing expert. And I'm like, baby, I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm like, I'm going to buy a couple courses. And she's like, oh, great, more debt. And I'm like, I'm going to buy a couple courses, and I'm going to figure it out. Because you know what? No one else knows how to do this either. So someone's got to figure it out. And I modeled Mari Smith, got off the ground running, and the rest is history. That was the start of the rise. That's where everything started clicking, coming together.
I'm just thinking that in an alternate universe, you could have made the decision to make your mission to figure out how to help people get off of the front page of Google, which probably wouldn't have been the best career move, right? You thought, I see a problem that needs solving. How to get people off of Google? Luckily you took it. Yeah, luckily you took the Facebook route. Now, I actually read a post of yours a while back that really struck me, that it talked about it was, I guess, during this time, you ran into that $50,000 in debt. You had all these, the financial pressures, and, I think you had an attorney or something that was just trying to get you to file bankruptcy.
Yeah. And this was nuts. So, if you think about 2008, when the meltdown happened and everyone was skittish and banks were skittish and everything was failing, credit card companies literally pulled out the rugs from under people and they doubled interest rates. Remember those days? Remember those times? It wasn't that long ago, right? They just doubled interest rates. So I was literally carrying $50,000 of credit card debt, maxed everything out. And when they all of a sudden slapped and doubled everything, I mean, I was paying over $3,000 for interest a month. It was nuts. You're talking 35% interest on Discover. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, because they had all kinds of weird provisions. People were skittish. It was nuts. And I was calling them multiple times a week and like trying to negotiate. And the messed up thing was that you can't claim. The only way they will make you any deals and cut you any favors to help you pay it back is if you're delinquent 90 days. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm a guy that's calling you and I'm trying to pay this stuff off. You know, and the only way you're going to allow me to speak to people that can help me set up payments to pay this thing off, I've got to be delinquent 90 days. That is so stupid. And so I never wanted to have a late payment my entire life, and I never have. And so I said, well, I'm just going to carry all of this debt. And I'm going to, you know, sell a couple houses here and there and stay above water. And that was like, you know, as I was doing it, and then I, you know, became a Facebook marketing expert. And then I had to hustle. I had to, you know, hit the ground running and absolutely just, I mean, that was the pressure I needed to go full force. But what ended up happening is I was carrying so much debt that, you know, my attorney, she says, Nick, you know, I've never seen someone come out of this kind of debt, especially in this, you know, with the environment right now, everything, your rates are ridiculous, you know, and she's like, you've never even been late on anything. And she's like, you'd be insane to keep this. The business failed. You know, this is why they have bankruptcy. And she gave me a really good sell on it. And I said, you know what? I'm the kind of guy that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's how I was raised. I have integrity. I'm the kind of guy that if I have a debt, I'm going to pay it. You know, and that's just the kind of guy I am. And so she's like, you're totally nuts. And I was like, well, we'll see. I'll prove you wrong. And I went out, became a Facebook marketing expert. I pounded the pavement. I got clients. I literally I got in front of customers face to face. I got on the phone with them. I did profit producing activities. For the first time in my life, I started working really efficient because I didn't have a choice. You know, when you start time blocking your day, when you think about, wow, I need to make more money, look at your day. How is that going to help you make more money? You know, is going through your email making you more money? No, it's not. It's profit producing activities. I would do between 5 and 10, 30 to 60-minute calls with entrepreneurs where I gave something away for free. I said I would teach them social media marketing and make them a plan, a one-page plan at 30 to 60 minutes because I needed a reason for them to talk to me. Instead of going up to businesses and cold calling, that was the old model, I created a new model. I said, hey, I'm giving this thing away. This is $250 of value. You come to me and get on my calendar. I'll give you this service that I made up as I went. I learned as I went, converted customers, went from local to national to creating software for Facebook to getting $1 billion company like Safeco Insurance as a client, $250,000 contract to, selling coaching programs to selling a business by 30 years old, and then since then, starting my dream business, which is called Life on Fire, which is life after I sold the business and now teaching other people how to find their purpose and passion and build a business without all the failures like me. And that landed me on a stage out here in San Diego where I was on the stage for Facebook advertising. And I started sharing the story about untargeted versus targeted, the same story I share with you guys. I started sharing about the debt that I was in and how I was able to get out of debt so fast. The reason was because if you or I run Facebook ads, you can run your ads, bring in new leads, make new customers, create a return on your investment, make money, and just reinvest into your ads and do it again and again and again and again. And I can take people in literally 30 days, sometimes 60 days, and I can help them make way more money than they thought was possible by running ads efficiently and creating profits on Facebook, right? And so when you have that power and you can help anyone make more money almost instantly, it's amazing. And that's what I built my business around. And I shared that story on the stage, and this lady stands up, waving her hand. Hey, hey! She starts yelling, and then with the pan over to her, she runs up to the microphone, And she starts crying and says, "That was me. I was the attorney telling Nick to file bankruptcy. And I cannot believe that he's in front of my eyes right now, that I paid all this money to fly across the country to come to this event. And Nick happens to speak here, sharing this story about he's gone from rags to riches in less than 3 years."
Serendipity, baby. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
That is, and that right there, I mean, it had to come to, and that's what I'm saying, infectious. Who could put that together? Who could have that many experiences to where that would just happen, right? And not only that, but think about the value, $50,000 in debt. Think about the value and the probably the inspiration that created for that room full of people by that occurring. You'd probably think about, would I pay $50,000 for these circumstances to occur so it would benefit so many people? It was absolutely worth it just for that right there. And so that's where I think anybody that's listened to you can certainly, they hear the passion in what you're doing. And if you ever get a chance to see Nick in person, it's just that much more infectious as well. So what I don't want to do is find out, you've influenced a lot of different people, and I've been with you at live events. I've been with you in private masterminds and courses, and I've hired you to help me understand Facebook as well. And I can say that, you definitely influence folks to a point that it's spread, because I see you influencing people to be successful, but not just to influence them to be successful, but influencing them to themselves become influencers. I've seen the things that you've been doing with the pay it forward. And I want you to, can you go into that for just, a couple of minutes? Talk about your Pay It Forward initiative, because just like back when you had the discount cards, that there's always that, benefiting a charity or benefiting something, bigger than you are. You're still doing that in a much bigger way. And you want to talk about infectious, and something that you can't help but smile and feel good about is your Pay It Forward initiative. Talk just a few minutes about that.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, it really comes back to just thinking about, what was that dream that I had when I was a little kid? What's your dream that you had when you were a kid? And what happened? Why did we deviate from that? And life beats us up. And so, I ended up, burning through all my 20s on this mission to sell a business by 30. And fortunately, that event, Facebook advertising and marketing, it was a hot topic. I realized how important timing was, and I took advantage of it. Sold the business. That was great. But what's crazy is that when I did that, I made a bunch of money, and I didn't sell all the equity. I retained some, but I had new partners. I had corporate partners. I love them. I mean, they're amazing, amazing people, but their visions were very different than mine. It was, exiting the business, building out the software. And so long story short, I shared that because it wasn't fun. That my business was fun. Selling and being stuck as the CEO on an earnout to make the rest of the money, it wasn't my business anymore. And so what happened is that I walked away from a bunch of that money. The biggest dream that I've ever had in my life was to sell a business by 30. I thought that's where the financial freedom was. I thought that that was the light at the end of the tunnel. That was the holy grail that I talked about in the beginning, right? That was everything. And I sell the business, broke up with my girlfriend in 7 years, have a beachfront home. I'm looking at the ocean right now. Gorgeous furniture, everything I want and need. Yet I was completely dead inside. And it was one of the most emotionally challenging times of my entire life, because what I had worked so hard for, I had no one to enjoy it with, no one to share it with, and I was alone. And love is more important than any business you could ever have. And so it was that moment where I said, what's the positive, right? You're just getting the theme. And it was like, I need a change. I need to, hire a business coach. That was an aha moment. And I need to do something that's not just about money. And I've always had that belief, so that when I started Life on Fire, this business for the first time was 100% in alignment with my story, with my mission. It's the dream when I was a little kid was to love what I do every day. Facebook advertising was taking advantage of timing, and it's still helping people make money, but that's not a legacy that I want to go down with. I want to go down with being with being responsible for inspiring millions of people. I want to be someone that has a legacy of giving back and helping other people. I want a lot for my life, got big expectations, and helping people run ads isn't going to get me there. So with Life on Fire, the mission behind the entire company is to help you live your life on fire and figure out what your purpose is and then be in alignment. Because as soon as I started this business, all those challenges I talked about, all those failures, none of that stuff even exists. They're like hiccups now. Now I still have challenges, but they're like hiccups because when you do what you love, money follows. Your charisma gets kicked up a notch. You are able to effortlessly, inspire people or be contagious because it's your passion. And that's why I'm not even trying, right, with this business. And I shouldn't say not trying, but it's easy, right? Because it's in alignment. And that's one of the first things that we want to do. Now, the next thing is that I've engineered it so that I only do things that I love. I delegate the rest, or I just flat out don't do them. I don't do email. I don't like it. So I don't do it. And, the other thing is that I want to create a business that's fun. As an entrepreneur, if you are an entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur, we are creative creatures. We are people that cannot sit still. We're people that want to do 1,000 friggin' things. And if you don't have fun in your business, you're going to get bored and you want to change. Too much change, you never get consistent. So I want to have fun. I want to have impact. And so with Life on Fire, we've already donated, to build the school in Honduras last year. This year, I literally just about 3 days ago signed a contract where we're going to do a launch and we're going to get $25,000 to build the school in Guatemala. We already have the trip booked, so we're like giving back as we go. And I love that. That's because you can be an entrepreneur and you can be a capitalist, but you can help people along the way, not just with your services, but you can give back. And that's the message. That's the Life on Fire. You can have it freaking all. That's like our message. So on top of that, I was like, well, I really love the idea of just being an example of just being positive and happy and having fun. So we have our Life on Fire TV podcast. So that's video, and we share steps on how to live your life on fire and action steps and interviews with really smart, cool people like Jack that are on that mission too. So it's inspirational and yet tactical. And then Pay It Forward Friday TV, that is nothing more than something that I just flat out enjoy. And so what we do is we go out on camera every single Friday and we just do a random act of kindness. And so the first episode was me sitting outside, a beachfront spot in a lawn chair. People would roll by, jog by, ride their bikes by. I'd spring up with 2 Starbucks gift cards and say, hey, here's 2 Starbucks gift cards. One's for you, maybe give the other one away. It's for Pay It Forward Friday. And what's funny is people are shocked. And that's what's so interesting, because when you watch these episodes and you hear what people say for that split second, you relate to them. And you can see that we all think it's a scam at first. We did this just last Friday. Woman says, nothing's free in life. I gave raffle tickets at an amusement park to a little boy. And I said, here you go, buddy. Here, you want to go on the ride? Here's 10 extra tickets. And he lights up with a smile and with joy, and he reaches his arm out, and his mom comes over and basically swats his hand down and says, Timmy, nothing is free in life. And it goes to show you how life can just beat us up. And then as soon as those adults realize that I'm not a scammer, that I'm literally giving them money, I'm giving them a gift certificate, I'm giving them something for free, they completely change their tune. We've had people that have cried. We've had people that have hugged us and come back and been so thankful. And that's the thing, is that we get so busy in life, working, driving, in our routines. We need to zoom out for a second and just be present and enjoy every single moment of every single day. And that's what a Life on Fire is, when you enjoy the journey. Because the journey is what life is about. It's not the end destination. It's not, yay, Nick wants to sell a business and then did it one day. It's every single day. If you don't love the moments, you're missing out on the whole purpose of life. You're just waiting for this end result that once you get it, it's not going to be great anyway. It's like saving up all this money to buy this car, and then you get it and you're like, wow, the car doesn't really make me happy. It's the daily journey. It's enjoying yourself along the way. And Pay It Forward Friday brings that out. And, we're now bringing on special guests, and we're having fun with it. And it really has no business practicality for us. We don't market Life on Fire, in it and stuff. It's just fun to do. I think eventually, I really do foresee this to be a big thing, because we're going to do cooler and cooler episodes and have special guests. And I think it'll be part of our branding and buzz and PR. But it's really, it's about having fun. It's inspiring other people to do, random acts of kindness too. We get messages and texts and emails, and there are people saying that they're now paying it forward as well. And that's a ripple. That's a little legacy starting. So makes us happy.
I know it is. When you see people that are so suspicious, and I guess that's the state of our society. But yeah, be careful. There's some parts of the country you go and give a kid some free raffle tickets, you get shot or arrested, right? For hey, what kind of games are you playing here, pal?
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that you do and what people don't realize is when they go and do that, the people that follow you that are influenced by you to do that, pay it forward, to do those random acts of kindness. A lot of people don't realize how addicting that is. And they get addicted to that feeling. They get addicted and they crave that feeling. And I can tell you, if you're going to crave anything or get addicted to anything, that's something to get addicted to, because what it does is it drives you to be even more successful, so you can keep doing it. You want a habit that makes you do things, have a habit that makes you go out and be successful, so you can give things back, so you can give things away. And I think that's the one thing that you're demonstrating when you do that. That's why I think it's so inspiring on so many different levels with that. So I would certainly encourage anyone to go and check that out and watch this, because, instead of watching, mind-numbing people crashing on skateboards, go watch Nick give stuff away, right? It's going to be far more beneficial to you in your life.
And Jack, I think what you're doing is you're totally summarizing like the essence of Life on Fire, because at the end of the day, it's when you attach meaning to your business that's greater than you, and you're doing what you love and you're doing something that you're passionate about, that's where you become unstoppable, where there is no hiccup or failure that could ever stop you. And, and that's where it's way deeper than just making money. And it's, I always say that when I've got clients that come on board and start coaching them, and they've just got, the monetary goals, and they just want superficial things. It's like, yeah, we can help you get there, but we already know what's going to happen. It's going to be empty calories at the end of the day. It's not going to make you happy. Let's build a true Life on Fire and being fulfilled and happy, because ultimately we are buying these things to make us happy. Let's just cut to the chase. And if we just focus on, let's do something with our lives. Like if you have a job that you don't love, then there's no reason why you have to stay there. You know what I mean? And so it's like having that alignment, and then attaching whatever it is that you do decide to do that you really enjoy and love. Take that leap of faith. Surround yourself with the right people. Get a mentor or a coach. And step into your greatness, step into that gift that you have to share and that dream you had when you were a little kid. Because if not now, I ask you, when the heck are you ever going to do it? And life isn't guaranteed to last forever, so, why not do it now? And then when you're doing what you love, it's, you will find that money and abundance flows a little bit easier, and when that happens, just attach that business and create more meaning for it by simply dedicating a portion of proceeds to something that's impactful for you, or, Tom's shoes. So you buy a pair of shoes is gap. It's those types of businesses that I find inspiring, and that's what we're doing and trying to inspire others. And it leads to such a robust, amazing life. And that's what we're so, fired up about.
Well, I can tell you, let's find out, but how can people go find out more about it? How can they go watch the stuff? How can they see what Nick is up to and get involved with what Nick is up to?
Yeah, so I would say that lifeonfire.com. What's really simple and nice about that is that's our main website. We do publish our Life on Fire TV episodes there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Pay It Forward Friday TV is right there on the homepage. You just scroll down, you can click on the categories, you can check out all these cool things that we're doing. So there's so much, we put so much time and energy into these shows for you guys. So it's completely for free to watch. So that's always the best. And then we have Facebook comments. So commenting, interacting, I'm on there, our team's on there, we've got some cool people on there. And so we get to kind of build community, get to know each other a little bit. So lifeonfire.com is definitely always the best. on there. You can see the links to connect with us on Facebook. I don't know what it is. I'm the kind of guy where I always, I'm just sharing just crazy updates about things that are happening in life. So, connecting on Facebook is always a great thing too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And now that, once I became a Facebook expert, I had to learn how to use it. So.
Yeah, imagine that. Well, that's where I see, I see your stuff popping up, and that's where I always say, let's see what Nick's up to. And you share some things it's not all business, but it's always seems to be inspiring. So, Nick, I want to thank you for coming on and, just jam-packed full of information, and not even, business or product or anything, but just jam-packed full of, things that I know people are going to, shake off the funk if they're in it. That I think that's one of the biggest benefits of just being around you and watching you. If you're in a funk, go check out Nick. You'll shake it off really quickly. Coming on and spending this time to inspire others and be that influencer.
Well, I just want to say thank you. This has been so much fun, sharing these stories, and I just really would love to hear, from you guys listening, whether it's, being fired up and staying plugged in with Jack, and maybe you are leaving the job that you don't like, or you're starting that business you've always wanted to, or reliving that dream. So I really hope if there's even just one person and that's happened, then I think, Jack, we've had a successful day. But so again, thank you so much for having me here, and looking forward to hanging with you guys in the future. No,
fantastic. I put it in the success column of the books already after just being here. So, folks, go check out what Nick's doing. Get involved, get inspired, and if there's one person that's going to influence you to be an influence yourself, Nick Unsworth is definitely the guy. So we will see you next time, and until then, remember, you are the only real game changer. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/influencersradio.